Okay. Perfect. All right. Any questions before we get on the last leg and the home straight? Any questions, guys, online? Are we all following? Let me see. Anybody asleep? Nobody's asleep. Rachel, you might be asleep. Your camera's not on. Likewise, Kenneth. All right. Let's carry on. All right. No problem. Got you. Okay. So we already talked about this earlier in terms of the IPMC. Again, just to cover that, that's initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and then closing. Like I mentioned, these are all crucial elements that you have to adhere to within the project lifecycle. Question to the house. From what you have learned so far, which of these stages is the most important stage? I need an answer from everybody. Ayo. Planning and executing. Tita. Planning and executing. Okay. Online. Rachel. Demi.
Executing, monitoring, and control.
Okay. You're taking the last three. Yes.
Planning, monitoring, and control.
Monitoring and control. Everybody's saying the same thing. Yeah. Do we agree?
Yeah.
Somebody said no. Olaide, what do you say?
Planning and execution.
Okay. All right. So everybody's kind of between planning, execution, monitoring.
And the closing part. I feel the closing part is essential.
Okay. All right. My answer. So I'll raise my hand and give you my answer. My answer is no. My answer is all parts are equally as important as each other. Simple. Why? Because you're not going to have a great execution if you have a crap plan, right? Your monitoring and execution, monitoring and controlling is not going to be great if your execution isn't great, right? So logically, if you think about it, each part, each phase, each stage, so to speak, are all equally important. Likewise, you can't have a fantastic plan and then you give that plan or you have poor people or poor resources execute the plan, or your execution it doesn't work. So there needs to be a balance. So again, thinking back to early days, we talked about having the right resources, the right places, the donkeys or the horses over the donkeys, right? The planning, initiation, rather, the planning, execution, all the way through to the end. They're all, very, very important to each other. Not one is not more important than the other. Okay, just keep that in mind. So let's move on the home stretch and we can wrap up for today. All right, quickly on this PDCA, you would have seen this before. So PDCA is plan, do, check, and act. We plan the work, we do the work, we check what we're doing, and we act on it. That, as you can see, is overlapping the IPMC. So with the planning, that follows our planning process. The do is execution process. Our check, again, is pointing towards execution process, all right? And our act is basically monitoring and evaluation. So they all sit together. So whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, again, you need to plan the work, do it, check, and lastly, act. So that form of act is whether you are assessing, qualifying, and controlling what you have done to ensure that going forward, you're moving at the right pace, right? Your job as project managers is to ensure that that quality is maintained. We talked about triple constraints: time, cost, and scope. That sits on the outer edge. Within it, you've got the quality, you got the image, you got the value, and at the center of it all, you've got the risk. So it's important that you understand end to end, what does the quality need to be? You can't have a great project if the quality is going to be poor. So it's as simple as building a house. There's going to be a quality expectation. Going back to Tita's 50 million house, with 50 million budget, there's going to be a lot more we can do against a budget of 500,000. You can't give me 500,000 as a construction company to build you a house and expect value of 50 million. I will definitely laugh at you. It's as simple as that, right? So you got to keep that in mind. What is the quality? So even I've given you their material quality, even down to documentation, there's got to be a quality in terms of how your documents are produced. Okay? So this part here really just kind of covers everything we've been talking about in terms of the different stages of that life cycle: initiation, what takes place in initiation, the processes, likewise the planning. However, the planning, we want to get to the point where we've developed a plan, right? We understand full well what is the scope, and we have a WBS, a work breakdown structure. I gave you an example of that before. We were talking about HLD and LLD, high level design, low level design, right? It's either we start at the top or we start at the bottom. But whichever way, we need to draw out or paint, if you prefer that, the overall objective of the project. Okay? Again, we've been talking about the risk. Risk is a big part. That's why we're there as project managers. Our job is to manage the risk end to end. Risk can come up at any time of the project. Until the project is closed, anything can still happen and any risk could occur at any time. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. That's part of why we are there. Execution phase, as you already know, this is where the work takes place. Your job as project managers is to manage effectively the performance of your resources. Manage your project resources, communicate project status. As a project manager, week to week, or every fortnight, or every month, whatever it is, whatever the cycle is with the organization, at a minimum, you are expected to give a report. That report has so many names: highlight report, project status report, weekly status report, call it what you like. But you must report to the business or your customer, whatever it is. What do you think, question to the house, what do you think goes into that report? What are we reporting on exactly? The state of the project, but give me more details. I need more meat than that. The status of the project, yes, but what are we saying? Yes, online.
Progress report.
Yes, what are we saying in that progress report?
The amount of work done.
Thank you. Yeah, what else?
What's remaining?
Yeah, so basically we want to make it clear this is what we've been able to achieve. So depending on the period we're reporting on, if it's a month, we want to be able to say for the last period, the last month, this is what we achieved, correct? Okay, what we achieved, that's one part. What else are we saying? That's part of our progress report. What else?
What is left to achieve and maybe probably the time. Yeah.
Okay, good.
And the problem.
And what you're doing to achieve what needs to be achieved.
Thank you. Now we're cooking. Yeah, we're talking about what's the problem. Sorry, what do we have next? What's coming up next? Right? What are the issues that we have faced? How will we resolve those issues? Okay, something you've missed. At times, you may be expected to communicate how much money have we spent. Right? What is the overall budget? How much money have we spent? How much have we got left? Risk and issues, things like that. So when it comes to project status, when you guys are working on that, you have to keep that in mind. It's your moment to call out to the business how well or maybe how not so well you're doing. Now, there's a common fear with a lot of project managers where they feel like they always have to go to their customer or go back to the business with great news. And everything must be green, right? truthfully, that's the wrong approach. Because what you're doing there is you're not presenting the truth. You're not actually providing the facts of the project that you're working on. What does that now mean is when those issues now become serious problems and you're now having to go back to your stakeholders or go back to your sponsors, your stakeholders, they will literally look at you like, why did you not call this out earlier? It's as simple as that. So there's a balance. As project managers, when you have issues, at a minimum, you want to be able to try as much as you can to resolve those issues yourself. If you can't resolve them, think of solutions before you now run to your sponsor and say, I have an issue. Because the first thing your sponsor is going to think is, why aren't you dealing with it? The only point your sponsor or your stakeholder or anyone executive needs to come in is when the resolution is beyond your capacity, beyond your remit, and you need further support. That's the only point they should come in. If not for that, it should be things that you should be able to manage yourself. Don't get me wrong, you still need to give them visibility of what's taking place, but it's better you do that than to just say something happened and I don't know what I'm doing. But then they'll just look at you like, yeah, sure, you don't know anything, right? When it comes to risk, again, if you've been in London or you live in London, there's a common phrase you will see on the underground, in the train service: see it, say it, sort it, right? As a project manager, see it, say it, sort it. That's the environment, or that's the culture you want to create when it comes to risk within your project team. I'm not a fan of people saying, oh, and I wanted to tell you that. Oh. No. Why did you not say when it was there? You understand? Because that would have helped you make better decisions. So that risk part, again, is very important. You want to create that culture where people feel free to call that risk. I don't want to get into risk at this point in time because that's a whole topic on itself, which will come down later down the line. Again, with the monitoring and controlling, what are we doing? We're tracking the progress of the project. Where are we? Where did we say we're going to be by this time? How far are we from our objectives? We're measuring the performance of the team, of the resources. Are we getting value for money? If you have a resource that's costing you £1,000 a day, please, ladies and gentlemen, that is not somebody that you can afford to have them sit there and tell you, oh, I've got nothing to do. No chance. Because that's costing your project. That's eating into your budget because you're not getting value for money. So at most, you want to make sure everyone within your project, they have something that they are doing and they are there for a reason. Because otherwise, if you have people like that, it doesn't take much. You have a snowball effect and automatically you're already burning cash and you're not realizing any benefits or anything back in return. With your closing, spoke about this previously. We talked about obviously the lessons learned, which is a very, very important part. But again, you want to obtain project approvals. So if there are key people, stakeholders that need to sign off and accept the project, that's where they do that. So obviously they would accept it based on their initial expectations in terms of this is what we set out to achieve. So once that's been done, that would encourage them to sign off on the project. As simple as we're building our house, right? On that part of handover, we will take you around the house. We'll show you the whole 12 bedrooms, not 8.5. You understand? Show you everything you need to know. For you then to say, okay, here are your keys, and then we, as a developer, can walk away gently. If we have to run, then that means we've probably done a shit job. And we need to run away from our customer, which isn't going to help us. All right? So keep that in mind. So, questions. That is module 1, questions. If you don't ask questions, it means you understand everything, or worse, it means you're too shy and you haven't learned anything and you don't want to learn anything and you've just wasted your 7 hours with me. So, questions? Can I take a seat? I should keep standing. I should sit.
No, people do this thing.
5, 6, or whatever they're saying now. I should sit.
Yes.
I should sit. Online, what should I do? I should sit or I should start? I should keep moving.
Moving.
Keep moving. No, it doesn't favor me anyway, so it's down to you guys. This could work for you. It could work against you. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know. So, guys, what are the questions? We've spent the last part of 5, 6 hours together. What are the questions? What do you guys have? What is stuck in your head? What have I said that you're like, I don't know what this guy is saying? Where have I mentioned something that you want to see receipts? Yes, go ahead.
Yes. So for me, one of my questions is, as a project manager, do you get to pick your team? Because you said, for instance, if you're having someone that is costing so much, you can't afford them not to do anything. So do you get to pick that team, or does it depend?
Yes. Answer, you just said it there, is it depends. So technically, you don't get to pick your team as such, because truth of it is, when you go into an organization, it's either they have resources already within the organization, and that could be you going in either as permanent or as contract, but they already have their resources there. Okay. At the point of, let's say, picking or not picking, that's not really something you get to do, right? The business can hire people or however and assign them or allocate them to your project, but you don't typically get to pick. Now, do you get to decide whether somebody fits your project or not? Yes, to an extent. So, as an example, I'll come to your point in a second. As an example, what that looks like is if the resource isn't performing, obviously, it's down to you to manage that. So, and I wouldn't tell you if a resource is not performing, it doesn't mean automatically kick the resource off your team. No, you need to understand what is going on and why that resource is not performing. So again, that's where the people management comes into it. Before, should you have to make the ultimate decision and escalate it that X and Y person is not performing, therefore I need to move them off the project so that you can actually bring in somebody that will perform. Okay, so have I answered your question there?
Yes, please.
Okay, cool. There's someone else with a hand up question?
Yeah, so apparently from your response to Demilade's question, so I want to assume that as a project manager, you do not even have a say in the budgetary allocations to every phase of the project. Is that correct?
You don't. It depends on the setup of the organization. So I don't want to give you a hard and fast rule that this is how it is everywhere. Like the current project I'm working on, the only thing budget-wise is the cost of goods, i.e. the materials that I need for the project, and that is hardware. You understand? That is physical hardware. I'm talking racks, I'm talking switches, servers, things like that. That's the only thing budget-wise. And again, I'm not getting that budget, or I'm not shopping around. I'm not doing that because the company is a global organization. So they already have agreements with these vendors. So all I do with the vendors, they say, here you go, here are my requirements. They price it up, give it to me. I put in the purchase order, etc., and we start the procurement process. But I don't get to pick, how much do I want to pay? No, that's too expensive. Not in this case. In some examples, yes, they may definitely do that, or they may allow you to do that, which is fine. But generally, you're not required to be tracking the cost of each single resource, i.e., this person is working for me on this day, this is how much they charge, or this is how much they cost me, so and so. Again, to sound completely contradictory to myself, some organizations will give you a rate card. Like when you're working on our project, we will give you a rate card so that you can understand the impact of your decisions. So that rate card is basically telling you, these are your resources, and this is how much those resources cost you. So that way you learn to better manage and effectively manage your resources. So if you know a resource is costing you, like I said, 600, £1,000 a day, that's not a resource you're just going to be having to come and sit in your meeting and say nothing, because you'll be charged for that. That's the resource you want to manage well, so that you don't just take on unnecessary costs to your project. All right? Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Perfect. Any other question?
Yeah. Two questions actually. It deals with the documentation part after the project has been closed or is being done.
Yeah.
Now you've done like I would assume, let's say over 100 or 200 projects and all, and I don't know if you're still with the company or the firm or not. How do you like deal with the documentation part? Who holds the documentation part? Is it you? Is it you? Maybe in case they need to go back to it or whatever, or is there someone who is delegated in the organization who does the documentation part during or at the end, and who holds the information thereafter or updates it? I don't know, because some projects are ever ongoing, so I'll call the documentation a live document.
I'll pause you right there. I'll pause you right there. Projects are not ever ongoing. That's not true. Remember what we said? Projects have a defined start and end date. If you say it's ever going, then it's not a project. You understand? If it's been going, even if it's been going for 5 years and we know that it will finish in year 6, it's a project. But if you're saying it just keeps going, that's BAU. That's no longer a project. But to answer your question, who's responsible or who holds the documentation? Remember this: you are working either as an employee or the contractor for the business. Therefore, it does not belong to you. It belongs to the business. Documentation belongs to the business. The outputs, deliverables, everything belongs to the business. It doesn't belong to you, right? I say that, and the next part I'm going to say, you didn't hear it, but you heard it. To make you effective in what you do, what you then do is, when you are leaving said organization, what do? You do what we call Control C, Control V. If you don't know what that is, I can't help you, it's too late. But you move on with that, because that's now value to you. You understand? That's how you have increased your earnings. Because now what that means is, wherever you find yourself next, should you be doing the same or something similar, guess what? You're going to look like an absolute star, because you're bringing in that piece of work or that knowledge from the existing or previous place. And again, that's why businesses poach resources. That's why they poach people, because they know if you've done it there, you should be able to do it here. They hope, right? So did I cover your question there, Kenneth?
Yes, you did. Sort of. But then,
Go ahead.
well, by the way, let me ask the second question. So to say,
Yeah,
in the job market now in the UK, those are related to the training. What's the job market like in PM? I know it's big, but I mean, in terms of either sponsoring you or knowing your visa status and actually like giving you a role there. I know it's based off on most times value that you bring to them and all, they see value and all, but I'm just asking because there are some roles you might go for the interview or whatnot. Then whenever your visa status is asked for or something like that, they might, or let's say 50-50 cases, choose not to go again. I'm just wondering what, I know it's PM has always been and is always big, but then I'm just asking what it's like right now in the UK.
Okay. So again, this is no bullshit zone. So I'll give you how it is. With project management and many professional services, at times it can be a cycle. It can be a cycle in the sense that sometimes the job market is hot, i.e. there's a lot of demand, it's crazy hot, right? And then there are times where it's a bit of a dry spell, right? So ideally, as a contractor, if that's what you choose to be, when that dry spell comes around in the industry, ideally, you want to already be in a role so that you don't get hit with a dry spell. Truthfully, I've had a dry spell of about 6 months. That's like the most I've had in my own like career. You understand? And it comes, some people have had longer, right? But from my experience and from being in the middle of so many other people, a lot of people get stuck in what they do and they are not willing or ready to pivot. So they tell themselves, oh, this is what I do, i.e., I'm an infrastructure project manager, and they stand there. You understand? Remember this, the skill set you're using to do that is the same you can use to be a business project manager, an IT project manager, a relocation project manager. It's all the same. Don't get hung up on titles, right? Keep your money coming in no matter what. It's as simple as that. But some people get stuck and say, no, this is what I want to do. Fine. I got to the point where I pivoted into M&A. And my hypothesis with that was, I'm looking at Brexit and I'm like, okay, great. When Brexit happens, and we've not even fully felt the effects right now. Not in the UK, we haven't. But my hypothesis was when Brexit happens, it's going to force a lot of businesses to make a decision. Because given the fact that UK was in Europe on and off, you understand what I mean? It made business easy. But now when that separation fully comes in, businesses have to be like, you know what? We've got an arm in France. It's becoming a headache to manage. Let's sell it. And vice versa. So for me, hands up, that's where I come in. Because I now bring that value that, okay, I can help you do this. So you have to be able to pivot. That's one. Two, you have to be able to upgrade yourself. A lot of people don't do that. I'm sorry. A lot of people don't do that and they end up out of work because you've not done anything. You've not done any accreditation, any certifications, nothing. A lot of people get it the wrong way around. And some of you might have done that. You might have gone and done the Prince 2 Foundation, Prince 2 practitioner. It's great, but you still need that experience. It's like coming out of university and shouting at my first class students. Organizations will look at you and say, and then what? Okay, what do you want us to do? You're first class. Okay, what? Can you do the job? Do you know how to make a project plan? No. Then what are you talking about? So experience is key. Lastly, on the whole visa thing, again, we're in a tight situation and I totally understand it. And I think you heard Wale speak earlier as well, that it literally had offers. He had offers on the table. He had start dates, but then they were like, oh, he already said it to you, so I'm sure he wouldn't mind me expressing it. They said they needed him to have maybe like so many years left on his visa before for them to give him the job or whatever it is. That's a situation like we can't avoid, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't try. You understand? But again, these are things that we work on as much as we can. Like you already mentioned, if the business sees the value in you, they may be willing to put their neck out or go the extra mile to keep you, So it does mean you have to be a bit more and do more. Is that your phone, laptop ringing? They have to do more, or however, but then it's about, that's what we have to, if we have to do that, we have to do that. All right. So have I answered your question there, Kenneth?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Anything else from anyone? No questions. We're all good. Yeah. For now. Okay. Fantastic. So before we wrap up and I give you the ultimate scores for today, I feel like throwing in a curveball. But don't let me do that. Let me keep it simple. I'll stick to my word because some of you might have already planned what you're going to use the money for tonight. So, so don't let me be mean like that. Right. So tomorrow we start at 1 o'clock. Okay. Please try as much as you can to be here on time. Why do we start at 1? Because we recognize a lot of our people like to go to church. So once you finish church, don't go home and change. Come with your fancy church clothes and let's carry on for 1 o'clock. Again, it'll be 1 till 5. So we'll do as much as we can for tomorrow as well. All right. You will get a link. So Evans, if he hasn't, I'm sure he will put you all in the WhatsApp group. So you'll have your own cohort WhatsApp group. It will be February 2026. You're all welcome. then you'll get the link to the assignment, etc. And he will do the whole onboarding on the LMS, so on and so on. So leave Evans with that. If you have any issues, if you think of something during the night, should you wake up in a cold sweat and you see the triple triangles or the triple constraints chasing you, time, cost, and scope, know that I sent them. So they can disturb you in your sleep. All right. Since there are no other questions, it's only fair we round up for today. So let me call, since you did the last honors for us. Ayo, do you want to come out and call this number for me, please?
20,000. So no.
There you go. What do we have there?
11,086.
What? Yeah.
11,000
Someone said 11K.
and
I
86.
said 11K. I said 11K.
Kenneth said 11K.
Come on.
Relax. Kenneth said 11K. So you're the first runner up. So that's you right there. Followed by, I think there's some tight ones here. I think we have a Rachel and Tita.
11,500.
11.5. They're the closest ones, right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. They're the closest ones. So 11.5, Rachel, and then Tita. Okay.
11.5, so Abigail.
Say that again.
I said 11.5. Remember, I reduced from 11,800 to 11,500.
Forgive me, Abby. Yes, Abby said it, not Rachel. Forgive me. Yes, it's Abby, not Rachel. So that said, can I have Kenneth, Tita, and Rachel send me your account numbers, and I will do the needful. All right. I will only say this: pay forward. That's what I would say. So be kind to somebody else. All right, folks. If there is nothing else, it has been nothing short of a pleasure of having you here with me. Like I said before, it is Valentine's night, and yes, you could have been with your loved ones and not bothered about this, but I assure you and I promise you, should you continue this and stick to plan, I promise you this, and you can hold me to this. If you need to record it, record it. I promise you this. Get your cameras out and record this. Are you live? Are you recording? Are you recording? Are you recording? Are you all recording? I promise you this, because you spent your Valentine with me right here, right now, 14th of February 2026. Come the next Valentine, should you wish, you will be in a position and have the capacity to be on an island with your loved one, whoever you choose. You understand? That's on you. And I promise you, we can do the work, we can make it happen. I promise you guys, yeah? You give me 100, I'll give you 100. Simple as that. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been your host. I've been your Valentine host. I'm not your Valentine. I'm your Valentine host. Until tomorrow, take care of yourself and look after yourself. Peace. OJ out. Thank you very much. Good night, guys. Cheers, everyone. All right.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Nice, thank you.
No worries. Take care.